Welcome to another Tableau training video. Today I'm going to be answering an interesting question related to reference lines that recently came up in one of my training sessions. And the question was asking how to create multiple reference lines for each dimension member to represent different targets. So for example, you may have a situation where you're analyzing regional sales and you have different target goals for each region. So how do we go about customizing this information in our visualizations? In this video, I'm going to show you two different methods that you can use in order to achieve this. So let's take a closer look at the first method. Let's start out by creating 4 different parameters, which will represent our sales targets for each region. So I'm going to right-click on my data pane, select Create a Parameter. Let's go ahead and call this first parameter Central Target. Let's change our data type from float to integer. And for the current value, let's go ahead and set it to 200K. Let's follow the same process to create another parameter, which is going to represent our targets for the East region. So we'll call this East Target, change the data type to integer, and for our current value, we want to set it to 240,000. All right, so I've created all of my parameters. The next step is to actually show these parameter controls in my visualization. So we're going to click on the first parameter control and we're going to select Show Parameter. Now we can see the parameter is showing up on the right-hand side. Let's do the same thing for the East target, South target, and the West targets as well. So now that we have our sales target, the next step is to link the parameter controls to our visualization using a calculate field. So we're going to create a calculation. Let's call this calculate field as reference line calc. For the calculation, we're going to create a very simple if statement. So we're going to say if our region is equal to central, then we want to reference our central region target parameter. Else if region is east, then we want to reference our East target. So here's what our expression looks like once it's complete. Let's go ahead and save this calculated field. Next, we're going to drag it into detail and change the aggregation from the sum to minimum. Now we need to go ahead and bring in our reference line. So we're going to right click on our sales axis. We're going to add a reference line. For the value, you want to make sure that you're referencing your calculated field, which is called reference line calc. Let's also go ahead and change this average to minimum just to be consistent. And for the label, we're going to create a custom label. So under label, where it says computation, you want to change it to custom. Let's call this sales target, and then reference the actual value for the target. We can also go ahead and customize it by changing the formatting settings. So here we're going to change our line style to dashed, and we can also pick a darker color to represent the line. If later on you wanted to go in and make some modifications to these targets, you can then go ahead and use your parameters and type in the new target as you wish. Now let's take a closer look at method number 2. This method does require fewer steps, so some of you may prefer to add your reference lines in this way. For method number 2, we are creating a calculated field called target. This calculated field is simply a case statement where we are hard coding what our target values should be for each region. Once we have this calculated field, we're going to bring it into our detail shelf, change the aggregation like we've done in a previous example from the sum to a minimum. And now you're going to add your reference line. So here you want to make sure that you're referencing your target calculated field. And as you can see, the values have been added. And at this point, all we have to do is go in and customize our labels. So here we're going to change the label to custom, specify that this is our target. And now we can simply reference our target values. Once we save this information, the result looks identical to what we've seen previously. So if you were looking to provide some flexibility for your end users to actually interact with your parameter controls and change your targets on your visualization, then go ahead and use this method. But if you have a slow dashboard and you don't really care about providing that type of functionality in your dashboard, then go ahead and create a calculated field instead. Using a case statement, you can go ahead and hard code your actual target values and simply add your reference line and reference that calculation. This will definitely give you a better performance. Thank you guys for watching, and please stay tuned for more Tableau training videos.